Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us for our April 24th virtual chat. We today are going to be talking a lot about coal in Wisconsin and a specific plant and some actions that the coalition there has taken. And these virtual chats we do, this is your first one, we have one every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 3:00 p.m. on a variety of topics ranging from talking about one of our specific campaigns to how to start a garden. Or next week, we're really excited. We have people coming on and talking about birding in your backyard, which I'm very excited about, and my cat will be as well. So yeah, next week we're working on birding, and then Friday, I believe, I can't recall, but if you check out our Facebook and scheduling, you will see all of those pop up. So that's enough for me. I'm gonna toss it over to Jess to talk about our subject for the day.
All right, hi everyone. Just gonna get my screen going here. There it is. So yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here and that it's Friday. I am Jess Haven, as Katie said, and I am with the Sierra Club's Beyond Coal campaign. I work particularly with my focus on a coal plant in southeastern Wisconsin as the organizing representative or organizer. The Beyond Coal campaign, this is a little bit of a snapshot of where we're at nationally. The Sierra Club, with the campaign, the goal is to see all coal plants retired throughout the nation. And this is our progress so far. So right now we see 307 coal plants have retirement plans or have been fully retired, while we have remaining 223 active plants that we're focusing on. We also, with the campaign, are focusing on then the transition to renewable energy and keeping coal in the ground. So this is a snapshot of Wisconsin, what we've got here for current active coal plants. There are 5 remaining. My focus, as I stated, is on this one over in southeastern Wisconsin, Oak Creek Power Plant and Elm Road Generating Station in Oak Creek, just south of Milwaukee, and partially into Racine. So earlier this year in January, we got news that a coal plant on the Mississippi River, western side of the state, announced retirement. And then I think just this month, a couple weeks ago, we had the announcement from the UW system that they're transitioning off of coal in all of their campuses. So those are good news recently. And so here, as I said, in Oak Creek, we are looking at these coal plants that are primarily owned by We Energies. So this is a particularly ominous view of that coal plant. And prior to my work, or the coalition that started about a little over 2 years ago, the Clean Power Coalition, prior to that, there was a lot of activity by neighbors around the coal plant, a lot of concerns that they were voicing directly to We Energies and to the municipalities about the health hazards of the coal plants, the way that they were observing how coal was handled, or just various concerns and complaints that they had. But then, as I said, a little over 2 years ago, the coalition came together, the Clean Power Coalition. And so the coalition really brought together not only the neighbors locally, but also several representatives of like-minded organizations to focus on achieving a retirement of this coal plant. And doing so by educating the public about the hazards of coal, every phase of coal, storage, transportation, burning, handling the waste, every aspect of that. And so there are over about 25 organizations that are members of the Clean Power Coalition. And I came on board in my role in November of last year. And so much of what I'll be talking about, I may say we as in the Clean Power Coalition, but it is really it's predated my work. And so it's really, I just want to always make sure I'm nodding to the people who actually have done the work over these past couple of years, because they've done an immense, they put a lot of effort and skill into what they've been up to. One thing about this coal plant too that I want to mention. So there are neighbors nearby, particularly even just within a few blocks of the coal plant. But over the past several years, We Energies has purchased and leveled about 30 homes. And so they are looking at kind of eliminating neighbors or eliminating folks to raise their voices, or folks to be maybe even exposed to the hazards, or and so that's a big effort that We Energies has taken on. And executives of We Energies have said in the press that they expect to burn coal at this facility through mid-century, so through 2050. And so the Clean Power Coalition finds this unacceptable, and so we do a lot of things to advocate for a much earlier retirement. So this is a piece that came up in 2018, early on in the formation of the coalition. Actually, neighbors have complained about coal dust on their properties, so on their cars, on their siding. They say that We Energies PR folks come through the neighborhood occasionally with a power washer and kindly, generously offer them to power wash their property at times. And there are clear concerns about, any coal dust that we're seeing anywhere, especially near our homes and our playgrounds. And so there's a playground that's one of the nearest neighbors to the coal plant, happens to be a playground. And so as you can see, this is a neighbor who lives just a few blocks from there who noticed this coal dust on the slide, and this got a lot of media coverage at that time. And so if you do Google, especially the Racine Journal-Times and the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel and some TV news sources, there's a series of stories and a lot of follow-up stories to that as well, in terms of up till very recently, there was a follow-up when a neighbor called with some concerns. So this is an ongoing issue, and the media has played a big role in bringing attention to this, and then therefore We Energies having to answer to it for it, and come up with solutions to try to mitigate this coal dust that neighbors are presumably breathing. So I think here's just a little a screenshot of a neighbor talking about that, the coal dust issue. So that's been a big pinnacle of the work over the years. Here's another example. The top couple photos here are demonstration outside of the Shareholders Meeting, the WEC Energy Group, which is the umbrella over We Energies, their annual Shareholders Meeting, which actually is coming up again in just a couple of weeks. They'll be holding that digitally. And so this is a demonstration to speak to shareholders and speak to We Energies about their use of coal and what neighbors and residents and impacted people, the direction that they want to see them move towards clean energy. The picture below that is a listening session that the Clean Power Coalition of Southeast Wisconsin had organized for which We Energies executives attended, and basically got to listen to individuals who wished to speak on the microphone and share their concerns. Really well attended. We also, so there are a lot of events, there's a lot of behind the scenes activities. I think this is our most recent event in January. So a group of, so actually 2 Clean Power Coalition volunteers made a really great documentary about just featuring the neighbors of the coal plant and their stories and history they've had with the coal plant, or We Energies, things that they've observed very closely, the impact it's had on their lives and their health and their families. And so the documentary was screened. We were at capacity at this event for the venue. I think we had about 130 people, standing room only. So we're really grateful that we have a really strong, invested, dedicated base of supporters. So with this piece, we screened the documentary, and then we also had a panel of some of the neighbors that were featured in the documentary to do some Q&A afterwards, and give updates. And then we actually had a train expert, kind of a train history expert named Keith Coleman, who gave an excellent presentation. We went way over time, but people stayed because it was so interesting and engaging and relevant, especially for folks who live right in that part of the state. So he talked about really like this transport of coal and some of the hazards and some of the history and the ways in which that has impacted the region and the land and the health of people over time. So this is just a piece that we can send you, or we'll follow up with the link in the comment section after this session today. But this is a podcast by the Sierra Club. It's called The Land I Trust. And so the neighbors that were, many of whom were on the panel and were featured in that film, they are featured in this podcast that you can check out. So it's a family who lives on Mickna Road, and Mickna Road is one of the surrounding roads to the coal plant. And so their family has lived there for generations. There are 11 siblings. Many of them are active in the Clean Power Coalition, and they have really, it's just been really important to hear their stories and lift up their voices, and really helps us to understand the true impact most locally. So we will post that link for you to see. We also get to do some, I don't know if we want to call it fun, but we get to do some reach outs to We Energies directly sometimes. We have someone on our coalition who's got a way with words, certainly. And so this is an image of our Valentines Postcard that we offer for volunteers and supporters to send out to We Energies once a year at Valentine's Day. But this picture shows like how near that park is to the power plant. So where the coal dust was found on this slide. And we also have the same writer, his name is Carl, has creatively come up with an idea around, so We Energies puts out a cookie cookbook every year around holiday season. And so Carl has created a recipe for coal cookies. And so we've made this into a bookmark that we pass out as well. But he's also submitted it as a letter to the editor for some publications, or every year does. And so this tends to get printed around the holiday seasons. And as you can see, it sounds like a typical recipe that you might make in your kitchen until you read the ingredients, like 2 cups of coal dust. Sugar is still in there, a tablespoon of mercury, 3/4 cups of arsenic. And so this is just a reminder for the community of, what We Energies really is, some of the other ways that they contribute to the community. So we have a bit of an activity. I should hop back and say that was in no way a linear trajectory of the work of the Clean Power Coalition, but it's just a few highlights. We also focus on regulatory hearings, attending those, speaking at those, and letters to the editor. We have done holiday caroling directly at We Energies, and other demonstrations as well, and engaging with the DNR. We actually did some follow-up, or we did some water testing with some university students and a professor, and found that the results were concerning and over EPA limits for some heavy metals. And so we have been in conversation with the DNR about that, and they'll be doing some follow-up testing around the We Energies plant too. So we've got a lot going on and a lot coming up ahead, always moving forward. But that's the coalition in a nutshell. And I would like to open up some time for any questions before we offer an activity to wrap.
Great. Well, thank you, Jess. And before I stop the recording, we go to Q&A in our interactive activity. I just want to thank you all for joining us for our virtual chat today. And I checked our schedule, and next week, Monday, we are still working on planning, but it will either be about the Line 5 pipeline or a creative how to make something crafty from your home using reusable objects. Wednesday, we're going to be talking all about birding with some Sierra Club members and volunteers who are very excited about birds and get me really excited about birds too. And then Friday, we're going to be talking about cooking from your cupboard. So, we all have those ingredients that we don't really know how to use, and we have some other Sierra Club volunteers who are going to help show us how to use some of those things up. So again, virtual chats every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 3 p.m., and I hope you can join us for one in the future.